to Brandon Sports Review, everybody. Hope you're having an amazing day. I'm here to give you guys my Monday Night Raw review for March 9th, 2026. Before we get into the review, guys, please hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more content headed your way, share with your friends and family to help the channel continue to grow. Now, my overall thoughts about this entire show is that this show was very, very boring. Tonight's crowd in Seattle, Washington was absolutely terrible. The booking on the show was absolutely terrible. We had two good things happen. I'm going to get to it and explain to you what it was, but other than that, this show was just very, very boring. The crowd was terrible. We are 40 days out from WrestleMania season, and it just feels like it's just going to be another boring WrestleMania, like it was last year on night 2. This WrestleMania season feels boring. The hype is supposed to be great. We are 40 days out, and this is the best that they can give us every single week. I told you guys SmackDown last week was abysmal, it was terrible, and it was horrible, it was putrid, and it was awful. I said it was a slap in the face to the wrestling business how bad it was. And this Monday Night Raw is no different. It wasn't as bad, but it was still a boring show. I tell you guys all the time, I criticize the booking mainly. Some matches I don't really care for, but I mainly criticize the booking because I want the booking to be better so that wrestling could be better, so that it could last generation to generation to generation. This company just feels like it just doesn't care about anything that's going on for WrestleMania season. The booking is a mess. The match card looks decent so far, but the excitement behind WrestleMania is not there. It's not. And if it is, you're lying to yourself or trying to be a shill. The WrestleMania hype, there is none. Are you excited for what's to come for the Cody Rhodes vs. Randy Orton storyline? Sure. CM Punk Roman Reigns continues that feud? Sure. Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill after that promo that they had last week? Are you still excited about it? Now you guys can say, well, Brandon, you wanted Rhea Ripley to be in that match. Yes, because she's going to bring Jade Cargill to have a great match. I told you guys, Jade Cargill needs a great dance partner in the ring, and Rhea Ripley is that for her. That's why Rhea Ripley had to win it. Plus, SmackDown's women's division has been booked terribly, so she needed it, because they weren't doing anything with her on Raw. Then you have Stephanie Valkyria versus Liv Morgan. This story is about their upbringing and how Stephanie Valkyria got it out the mud, and Liv Morgan was basically handed opportunity after opportunity by training at the Performance Center and everything else that comes along with it, all the amenities and the great things and the trainers that she had. And Brock Lesnar's match is to be determined because this company doesn't know how to book worth a damn, and they don't know who his opponent is for WrestleMania, so they're going to have him come out there, trot his big ass out there, no disrespect to Brock Lesnar, and we're not going to find out who his opponent is until the last minute and not build any story towards Brock Lesnar's match at WrestleMania because they don't know what they're doing. And this show further cements that they don't know what they're doing booking-wise. And the same thing that happened on SmackDown last week. Again, WrestleMania season, it just doesn't feel like it's WrestleMania season at all. Tonight's WWE Raw was live from the Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington. The matches for tonight goes as follows. Penta versus Grande Americano for the IC Championship. The original Grande Americano for the IC Championship. Femi versus Rusev. The Women's Intercontinental Championship #1 contenders match. You had Bayley versus Valkyria versus Raquel Rodriguez versus Asuka versus Io Sky versus American-made Ivy Nile, which I don't know how she gets a title shot, and she hasn't really been on the show as much. Because they don't know what they're booking, and they don't know how to book her, and they're not using her. So why is she getting a title opportunity? I don't know. I just don't know. So the show opens up with a shot of WrestleMania host venue Allegiant Stadium as Michael Cole welcomes us, and he narrates the backstage arrivals of Penta, Asuka, Kairi Sane with Io Sky watching in the background, Femi, Rusev, and WWE World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk. We then get a video package recapping Seth Rollins' return and attack on Paul Heyman last week. Raw General Manager Adam Pearce kicks off the show. He's now in the ring and says he would normally welcome everyone to Monday Night Raw, but he has some business to take care of. Adam then says he needs to have a conversation with someone who's gotten himself involved over the last month, and he knows he is in the building. Adam then says he wants Seth Rollins to come out to the ring so they can talk face to face and eye to eye. A mysterious masked man makes his way out and gets on the announce desk, which I think that one was Seth Rollins, I'm not sure. More mystery masked men make their way out to the ring, and the crowd is in shock, chanting "Holy Bleep," which I knew this crowd was going to be bad when they were chanting "Holy SHIT" to this weak-ass segment. I knew this crowd was going to be bad based off of the cheering for this, and I'm going to tell you why when I'm done getting through it. They then charge the ring, and they scatter around the ring and leave one man in the ring. The mystery masked man is no longer a mystery because it's Seth Rollins. So what they're doing is they all got in the ring and started running around, and they all got back out, and one person was standing there. Because we want it to be confusion, as if to know that we know that Seth Rollins is coming, but they don't want you to know which guy it is. And Adam Pearce says it right here. He says, Adam then says he didn't need to do it. You didn't need to do all that to Seth Rollins. But they need to talk. Adam then says neither of them like division. Adam then says it is not his job to like or dislike people. It is his job to be general manager. Adam then says what you have done over the last month is unacceptable. Adam then says not because he doesn't think division deserves it, but because you had surgery less than 5 months ago. Adam then says the attacks have worked so far, but what happens when it doesn't? Adam then says there will be a time when you don't get away. Adam then says what happens when they get their hands on you? Adam then says they can reach an agreement and stop it now. Adam then says the worst case scenario is that they get their hands on you and that will be the end of Seth Rollins. So this entire time, Seth Rollins is just standing there and staring at Adam Pearce. He's just staring at him. He doesn't say anything. So after that, Logan Paul's music hits. He makes his way out to the ring with Austin Theory and says it will be the end of Seth Rollins now. Logan then says they will take care of the minions. Austin Theory then says there is a bullet with your name on it and the other masked men won't take it for you. They then get on the apron and the masked men get in the ring and they all leave the ring. They all left the ring together. So as soon as they got on the apron, guys, they all got in the ring and they basically did the whole run around like they did before and they all scarced outside of the ring and ran out so you didn't know which one was Seth Rollins or not. They literally had these guys do this. If this is what the best that they can do creatively, I don't want to know what else they were thinking backstage today. Or what were the other ideas that they were thinking of? Well, Brandon, what was wrong with it? Man, we need to know what's going on with Seth Rollins and what's the vision. No pun intended. He's not clear, so they're doing all this run around. Don't put him on TV. We all know that he's not clear. We all know it's a mystery if he's going to be WrestleMania or not. He's not even talking. What are we doing? Is this a new gimmick? Are they going to get away the stupid little cheer along to his theme song? Are they going to get rid of that too? Are they going to give him a new theme song? It's going to be a new Seth Rollins. If that's the case, then okay. But if they're going to go revert back to the old guy who's wearing all the silly outfits, then I don't want to see this. Well, Brandon, you're being impatient. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. If you guys watch this segment, you're looking at this, man, what the hell are we doing? Is this 5th grade writing class or what? So they all leave the ring. LA Knight's music then hits, and he makes his way out to the ring. Knight then says Logan Paul into the ringside barrier because Logan Paul got out of the ring and tried to fight him. Knight then punches Austin, and Logan stops him. Jey Uso's music hits, and Logan and Austin slow down their attack. Jimmy then joins Jey, and they go after Logan and Austin. Jimmy then hits a super kick, followed by a double super kick, and a clothesline to Austin. Austin then pulls Logan to safety. Jay's music hits and they play. Jimmy and Knight play to the crowd and stand tall. And Jey Uso did his regular, we're going to run it back? We're going to run it back again? We're going to go again? And they all start dancing and cheering. You're in a good mood to run it back. But as soon as you get backstage, spoiler alert, now you're mad about CM Punk when you were just running it back and having a good time out there. Now you want to switch up your mood and say, oh, now I'm angry now. Lord have mercy, man. Whoever writes this stuff, man, it's just not good at all. We then take a look back at last week what happened between Femi and Rusev. We then see Jackie Redmond. This is what I'm talking about right here. She stops Jimmy and Jay in the back and asks about what is going on. Jay says it doesn't matter who it is, and they have receipts to give. Jackie then says Jay about CM Punk and his comments. Jay said he has nothing to say to CM Punk. Jimmy then says maybe they have something to say and walk back towards the locker room because it looked like they was going to leave. Now, I'm going to tell you why this promo by Jey Uso saying that he had nothing to say to CM Punk, and then Jimmy saying we have something to say to CM Punk didn't make sense when they got out there at the end of the show. Spoiler alert again. And the inconsistencies in the booking of this show. And by the way, on SmackDown this past week and on tonight's Raw, nobody got kicked out of the arena. I wonder why. Because they were kicking people out of the arena every single week until I said something. And I say something on these reviews for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then it finally, now we're going to stop having guys get kicked out of the building. Which that didn't help because this is the only time we saw Seth Rollins for tonight. When did we get into the mindset of only seeing your superstars one time a night? Vince McMahon started doing that back in 2012. We would only see John Cena once a night or if he had a backstage segment. And the Attitude Era, we would see Stone Cold Steve Austin sometimes multiple times a night. Sometimes we would see Undertaker and Kane multiple times. Triple H multiple times. It seems like in this era, they just want a big pop, so they're going to only show you one time. Or somebody who's injured and they're not wrestling, they can only be on the show once a week or every other week, or they're not going to be on the show at all. Case in point, Bianca Belair. And I know she has a finger injury, but it's the same thing that Vince Russo once said, that Jim Ross said to him. Jim Ross says, hey, Stone Cold can't compete tonight. He says as long as he's on the show, he doesn't have to wrestle. But we're going to write him on the show anyway. Why? Because he's your biggest star. Seth Rollins is one of the biggest stars in this company that they have right now on Raw because Roman Reigns, again, did not show up. Spoiler alert for the people that are watching. You have Seth Rollins there who does nothing. And then you have CM Punk who cuts a promo at the end of the night. And between this entire show, where's the superstars? So after that stupid segment with Jay and Jimmy Uso, because it was dumb, and I'm going to circle back to that and tell you why it was dumb. And how you can manufacture and try to get angry. Lyra Valkyria and Io Sky make their way down to the ring. Io Sky and Lyra Valkyria starts off this match. Lyra gets eliminated first. Io hits a round kick and then goes for the turnbuckles for a moonsault and hits it for the 3 count. Raquel Rodriguez made her way down to the ring. Liv Morgan shows up and distracts Io Sky. Raquel then drops Io on the top rope. Stephanie Valkyria's music then hits and she goes after Liv Morgan. They fight on their way to the back. Meanwhile, back in the ring, Io Sky is still on the turnbuckle and she goes for a tornado DDT, but Raquel blocks it and slightly so that Io Sky gets a 3 count and an inside cradle. After that, Io Sky is basically leaning on the ropes. Raquel Rodriguez gives her a big boot. She lands on the outside. Raquel then lawn darts Io into the ring post. Raquel then hits a Tada bomb onto the apron. Ivy now then makes her way down to the ring. Ivy now then rolls Io into the ring, and she gets the 3 count. Ivy now then mocks Io Sky. Bayley then makes her way down to the ring while Bayley checks on Io, which was this. I gotta stop for a second. This was also dumb. When Ivy now pinned Io Sky, she was on the outside, and Io Sky was laying face down because it looked like she was still, quote, knocked out. Bayley comes out there knowing that there's an IC title on the line, and she comes out there and she walks to the body, and she looks over, and when she looks over, she's not paying attention to Ivy now that the match is still going on. So instead of just giving her a quick glance and then going into the ring, she gives her a quick glance and then tries to touch her and see if she's okay, and Ivy now attacks her behind. Not only do we not know how to book anything, but we also make it seem like Babyface is just some dumb that she has to stand there worried about somebody else when the IC title picture or the title's on the line, or the opportunity title's on the line, and she just sits there and looks at her, and then that's it. And then she gets attacked from behind. Whoever wrote that was idiotic. She attacks Bayley from behind and sends her into the ring steps. Like, who would be dumb enough, logically as a wrestler, oh, I'm going to check on you? No. Okay, pat you and then just get back in the ring. But she took her sweet ass time to get to the ring and look and check after her. Then after that, she got in the ring and just went in the ring. I mean, she got beat up on the outside. Bayley then hits a belly-to-belly suplex for the 3 count on Ivy Nile. Asuka then makes her way down to the ring. Bayley then hits a suicide dive and a forearm and sends Asuka into the ring. Kairi then distracts Bayley and then Asuka hits Bayley. So throughout this entire match, it was decent. Asuka then distracts the referee. I'm skipping past it a little bit. Asuka then distracts the referee, and Lyra Valkyria comes back out and drop kicks Kairi Sane to stop her from attacking Bayley because she came out to attack Bayley. Bayley then hits a cutter on the ropes while Asuka yells at Lyra. Asuka then catches Bayley off the turnbuckles and applies the Asuka lock. Bayley then escapes and she gets a near fall. Bayley then hits the Rose Plant for the win. The winner of this match is Bayley. This entire match was decent between Bayley and you could say Asuka, but the beginning of it was kind of like a little bit slower with Io Sky and Ivy now Io Sky and Lyra Valkyria, because it looked like, again, some of these matches look coordinated. You can tell when they're trying to get their spots in. It was one part where Asuka was on the side rope and she was waiting for the move or the drop kick or whatever it was, and it just looked too choreographed. I always say that women's wrestling for some reason looks like that, and men's wrestling does too. I'm not going to just pick on one. Both of them look like that sometimes, and when they get confused out there, is it a big deal? No, but you can tell when certain things are not flowing in the same smoothness as it needs to be flowing when it comes to some of these matches that these women be having on the show. And yes, some of the men too. After the match, Lyra then celebrates with Bayley and it's announced that Bayley will face AJ next week on Raw. Instead of going with my plan, which is to have Bayley, she always wanted to face AJ Lee. And instead of giving this match on a WrestleMania, you put this match on a random episode of Monday Night Raw. I told you guys, we need to see what is going on with Becky Lynch. I told you guys that they should have never ever took the title off of Becky Lynch. She should have kept the championship. By the way, where was she tonight? Fine. But they should never take the title off her, and here's why. Because you keep Becky Lynch with the title, and you have Charlotte Flair move to Raw to face Becky Lynch for the women's IC title, and you put Rhea Ripley on SmackDown because Bianca Belair is not there, so you obviously she won Elimination Chamber. You have her face Jade Cargill, and you have Julia face Io Sky for the Women's United States Championship, and make a trade on Raw and SmackDown between Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce, so that way all of these matches on the WrestleMania card can be good. Now you have AJ Lee, who's a champion, who was not here tonight again. Her championship belt was on at ringside, which I don't know. They must have just had a fake one there. The real belt, I don't really care. I don't really know. I don't care. But the fact of the matter is that she was not there tonight again. Bayley's not facing her next week, and we all know that AJ Lee next week is not losing to Bayley, or somebody's probably going to interfere in this match next week, unless the company just doesn't care about Bayley and I'll have AJ Lee just pin Bayley because they're not doing anything with Bayley. Unless we understand what they're doing at the WrestleMania for the women's IC title, it better not be Becky Lynch. I can promise you, if it's AJ Lee versus somebody that we probably don't know yet, and there is no build to it, I'm going to come on here and rip these guys apart again. You had a perfect build with AJ Lee facing Bayley without the title at a WrestleMania. You had the perfect build of Becky Lynch retaining the championship to face Charlotte Flair because it gives the IC title more prestige. You can make a trade. People say, Brandon, how are you going to get it done? Make a trade. It's a scripted show, for God's sakes. We then take a look back at the main event of last week's Raw. WWE Intercontinental Champion Penta is shown walking backstage, and Michael Cole says his first title defense is up next. Byron Saxton then brings out Natty. Byron says, ask Natty about her new personality and her recent situation with Maxine Dupree. Byron then says, what is next for her? Natty then tells Maxine she hopes she has a comfortable hospital stay. Natty then says she hopes they could diagnose why she's so feeble. Natty then says she attacked Maxine because Maxine does not belong in her business. Natty then says she made the same mistake Maxine did and listened to the fans. Natty then says she shook her ass of having people kiss it instead of having people kiss it. Natty then says she got lost as Natalya. Natty then says she should have been in the Gauntlet. Natty then tells Maxine the truth, that the truth hurts and hearts don't lie. Maxine then attacks Natty from behind as she punches Natty and kicks her. Maxine then hits more punches to official separate them. Natty then hits a forearm while they hold Maxine. I didn't see this, and I didn't really care. I don't really care about it because, again, they're ruining Natty's character already. That they're having this be against Maxine Dupree just ended already. Just ended. Let her go win the IC title that she was supposed to. If you guys go back to this IC title tournament, Lyra Valkyria should have never won it. You know who should have been the first woman IC champion besides Io Sky that I picked? It should have been Natty. Why? Because her family had that championship in the family, and you could tell a good story by having Natty on here. I'm here to tell you right now, I defend Natalya, or Natty as we're calling her now. I defend her because I think she's one of the top 10 greatest women's wrestlers of all time. She trains a lot of the women, especially in the dungeon. And it's a mischaracter of justice how Vince McMahon booked her and now Triple H is booking her. They should just let her left the company, went to AEW, and honored Owen Hart by being in the Invitational over there. Or the Owen Hart Classic, whatever it's called. Invitational Classic. But you guys get my point. No disrespect. But you guys get my point. They didn't want her to, supposedly they didn't want her to be a part of that, so they didn't want her to go over there. So they re-signed her to another deal, and they didn't even use her when they re-signed her. Why are you wasting money? See, this is my problem. TKO wants to outprice fans and do all of these things to disrespect the wrestling business, but then you're re-signing talent that you're not using, and that's barely there. Natty got re-signed like last year, and they barely used her, and she was on the independent scene doing a good job on Bloodsport with this same character. It's a WWE version of the character, but it's still Natty with a WWE twist on it. And they did nothing with her until they introduced this character. And now that they're introducing this character, they have one of the worst segments on TV like 3 weeks ago, when Maxine Dupree pretended like she was knocked out. And so far, they've hurt Natty's character throughout all of this because they don't know what they're doing and they don't know how to book a damn thing. I keep telling you guys this, and then you guys get, oh well, you people are too critical, or they hating, or they're not giving a critical, or they just want to hate on the product instead of actually being critical of the booking. Every week I've been coming on here since November being critical of the booking. That's all I do is come over here. I want it to be better. I love the business. I want this to be better. I want the booking to be better so that for generations, we could have ourselves some great wrestling. 2024 was the last good year of WWE. 2025 was a horrible with 3-hour SmackDown. Then they went back 2 hours. And now they're back at 3 hours. SmackDown was a disgrace last week and a disrespect and a slap in the face to the business. And then this week, it's no different. Was it as bad as SmackDown? No. But this show was absolutely terrible. We then get backstage and we see Danhausen, the original Grande Americano. I had no problem with Danhausen. I didn't like his debut at the Elimination Chamber, but I said Danhausen as a talent and being funny and being comedic, fine. I have no problem with Danhausen. I'll leave him alone. If this is going to be his role, so be it. I have no problem with it. Danhausen says he wants to try on Original's mask. Original then tells him, you don't touch the Luchador's mask. He then says he doesn't have tempo, and he tells Danhausen to Vamonos. Danhausen says that if Original doesn't want to join forces, you are cursed. And he cursed him. Penta then makes his way down to the ring. It was a fine segment. I didn't really care for it, but again, I'm going to leave Danhausen alone. He does a good job in the role that he needs to be in. Fine, I don't have nothing critical to say about it. Penta then makes his way down to the ring for the next match of the night. He says he wants to say thank you. Penta then thanks his family, his friends, and the other companies, or companions, whatever it says. Penta then thanks his fans all around the world. Penta then thanks everyone who believed in him. Okay, when he cut this promo, I'm not going to lie, I muted the TV because I'm tired of this humble. Listen, I get it. He's humble, he's glad to be WWE, he's worked so hard for it. But I need Penta to do a little bit more now. And this is why I said they need to put him back with his brother. And putting the IC title on him was going to be a mistake because there is no storyline behind the IC title and putting it on Penta. There is no story. So far, well, Brandon, it's only been 1 week. Okay. But if you didn't take the championship off of him in the first place and kept it on Dominic Mysterio, which we'll get to later on in the night, the IC title fits their story perfectly more than it does to fit Penta. You could have given Penta the IC title after WrestleMania. You could have given it to him at SummerSlam instead of a random episode of Monday Night Raw. You have to book and be creative, and they weren't. They just did a title change because Danhausen told Dominic Mysterio that he was cursed. Do you guys see the problem with the booking? So he thanks everybody. Penta says the title's not for him. It is for all who never give up, which I respect that. Penta then, he says he represents dreamers and the fighters in real life. Penta says the titles are a result of hard work, sacrifice, and believing in yourself every day. Penta says they will make history. We then see El Grande Americano make his way down to the ring, possibly after some backstage shenanigans with the original Grande Americano. So this was Ludwig Kaiser instead of Chad Gable. We see this match. Penta hits a springboard destroyer for the win. I didn't really care about this match because I do not give a single rat's an ass about any of these Americanos. I don't care nothing about them. I told you guys, Ludwig Kaiser is talented and could be something else in this business if they give him something, but instead they put him in a dumbass mask, and then they want to put Chad Gable in a dumbass mask, and not to mention the other two, the New Catch Republic, they put them two in a dumbass mask too. Do you guys see the problem with this company's booking? This company wants exposure from other countries, and instead of actually putting somebody over who are actually Mexican, actually let them do it on their own and let them build the division up through Penta and everybody else, you sit here and put a luchador mask on two white guys, which I never wanted to bring this up, but now I'm going to bring it up. You put full mask on 4 white guys and have them pretend to be Mexican. And you thought that this was a great idea for almost a year now. Are you out of your mind? It was never funny. This was never good. This is Vince McMahon level of booking. When people say this is Vince McMahon level of booking, this is something that Vince McMahon would do. Vince McMahon once had Scooby-Doo come out of his mystery van and be on Monday Night Raw. That's Vince McMahon level of booking. Grande Americano is Vince McMahon level of booking. And we have to sit here and watch Rayo and Bravo and Grande and Original. What are we doing? Chad Gable and Ludwig Kaiser and the other two guys whose names I keep forgetting and I don't care to look it up. These guys are talented and you got them in masks, pretending to be Mexican luchadors. Are you out of your mind? So after that, we get Stephanie Valkyria. She cuts a promo on Liv Morgan, saying that she heard what she said last week. Stephanie then says she can see the privilege that she had. Stephanie then says she can see how Liv learned from the best. Stephanie then says what pisses her off about Liv Morgan is that she has all the tools to be great, but she's too ignorant to use them. Stephanie then says you hide behind your friends. Stephanie says you are part of that. She then goes on to say you were forged by the people around you, but she was forged by hell. Stephanie then says they took different roads, but they have the skills to stay on top. Stephanie then says you have become lazy. Stephanie then says she can see more in Liv than Liv sees in herself. Stephanie then says she sees a worthy and fierce opponent, but you see yourself as a cheap blonde who would take the easy way out. Stephanie then says after that, you better bring all of your training into the ring because she will be the blood, sweat, and experience to continue to make history as the Women's World Champion. So that was Stephanie Valkyria backstage in her vignette talking about Liv Morgan. This was a good promo by Stephanie Valkyria. Even though she cut it in a different language, it was still a good promo. I didn't care about that. As long as she's on her own and they're putting the words up like they did for Shinsuke Nakamura, for Io Sky, for everybody else, she deserves the same treatment. I had no problem with this promo talking about Stephanie Valkyria talking to Liv Morgan. After that, however, the camera cuts to Liv Morgan, and she says at least she has friends. Liv then says she will get Raquel back into the title picture. Dominic then says he wants to know if anyone has seen Finn. JD McDonough says he will go look for him. Dominic then says he will go to the ring and get something off his chest. Liv asks if she comes with him. Basically, do you want them to go with him? And she said, and then Dominic Mysterio says that would be nice. Danhausen then makes his way down to the ring. This must have been during a commercial break. And he says hello to the people of Seattle. He did introduce himself. Danhausen then says he wants to come out to thank the Fanhausens. Danhausen then asks for the T-shirt boy, and he throws some T-shirts into the crowd. So this must have been just off camera, which it probably was because they weren't putting this on TV. Probably not. After that, I had no problem with that. After that, Dominic Mysterio then makes his way down to the ring with Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Dominic then says he demands a rematch for his IC title. Dominic then says he should be a champion, but Penta is walking around with his title. Dominic then says we all know whose fault it is. Dominic then calls out Finn Balor. Dominic then says he didn't want to do this out here, and he wanted to do it privately. Dominic then says you are making him air out their laundry in front of everyone. Finn Balor makes his way out to the ring, and he's joined by JD McDonough. Dominic then says he wants to know where the hell Finn has been. Dominic then says they all have been looking for him. Dominic then says he hopes Finn is out here to tell him that he got him a rematch. Finn then asks Dominic if he is done and get it all out. Finn then says Dominic is right about last week. Finn then says if it wasn't for him, Dominic would still be champion. Finn then says he is sorry. Finn then says he was trying to help and teach Dominic a lesson. Finn says they are a family and they will always have his back. Finn then says you told him you wanted to be the greatest Mysterio of all time. Finn then says you can be, but to be the greatest anything, you need to learn sometimes you have to fight on your own battles. Finn then says he has been trying to help and guide Dominic for 2 years. Finn then says the more he helps and tries to lead him in the right direction, and maybe your dad was right. Finn then says you are a spoiled little bitch. Now here's where I want to stop and before we even get to the rest of this. The same way he says maybe your dad was right, you were spoiled. Before Damian Priest was kicked out of Judgment Day, he said the same thing to Dominic Mysterio, maybe your dad was right. And a full circle moment. This is actually good promo by Finn Balor because it's a full circle moment after what Damian Priest said the same exact thing to Dominic backstage. So this was actually very, very good by Finn Balor. Dominic, after that, pie faces Finn Balor. He basically mushed his face. Finn then hits a Pele kick, so he mushed him in the face, turned around. And when he was turned around, I said, the first thing he's going to do, he's going to hit him with the Pele kick because he did the same thing to the Undisputed members back in NXT when Finn Balor had went back down to NXT. He did that with the Undisputed Era, Adam Cole and those guys. He hit the Pele kick. So I remember, and once he turned around facing towards the entranceway, I said, he's going to hit that Pele kick. And sure but enough, he hit the Pele kick to Dominic. Finn then grabs Dominic, and he pulls Finn off JD. Then Dominic then charges at Finn, and Finn hits a sling blade. Finn then sets up for the running drop kick, but JD clotheslines Finn Balor. Obviously, we all, before I get to the rest of it, we all knew that JD McDonough was not going to get out of Judgment Day with Finn Balor. He's going to be a heel with Dominic Mysterio. And Michael Cole's on comments are yelling, after all Finn Balor has done for JD McDonough. Well, after what all Damian Priest did for JD McDonough and Finn Balor. So it's a trickling effect that's taking place here. But again, JD McDonough was not going to side with Finn Balor. The Judgment Day, he still needs to be a part of that Judgment Day to give him something on TV to have. So after JD hits a clothesline on Finn, Liv and Raquel start punching Finn Balor. Liv Morgan's punches were absolutely awful in this particular moment, and she should know that. And they need to stop having women on here punching like that and start selling real. And Kairi Sane does the same thing. I'm not criticizing because they're women. I'm criticizing because they did not look sellable or real. It did not look real at all. And that's not supposed to be real. I get you're supposed to suspend your disbelief, but it didn't look great the way that she was throwing punches. She should have took it more seriously in that moment. The same thing with Kairi Sane throwing punches. Her and Kairi Sane's punches do not look great at all. So after Liv Morgan and Raquel then punch and kick Finn Balor, JD and Dominic join in. They're all basically jumping him at this point. JD then hits forearms to Finn. Dominic then gets a chair and a hammer. JD then folds Finn, and Finn kicks Dominic and JD. Dominic then hits Finn with the hammer. Dominic then puts the hammer in his shoe, and JD puts Finn on the ropes and hits the 619. Dominic Mysterio goes on top for a frog splash. By the way, enough with the whole Eddie Guerrero puns, please. Enough. You're not Eddie Guerrero, man. Enough with the puns of doing the shows like Eddie Guerrero or tapping your chest. You're not Eddie Guerrero, man. Damn. Let Dominic be Dominic, man. You doing it, oh, my deadbeat dad, which I never got that storyline. The whole deadbeat dad thing. I never got that storyline at all. But the whole Eddie Guerrero thing, he's trying to do this as a heel. Be your own heel. I don't have a problem with it, just I don't really care for it. JD then drives a chair into Finn Balor. Dominic Mysterio then hits another frog splash on top of the chair to basically end the segment. So basically, Finn Balor has been kicked out of the Judgment Day. Now let's go back. I want to go back to the Intercontinental Championship. And here's why. I want you guys to understand where I'm coming from. Please listen closely. The reason why I had a problem with this segment, and the problem in this segment, the problem with this segment was he finally gets kicked out after all these months of speculation and build-up. They finally did it. Here's the problem. Yes, you can bring back the Demon at WrestleMania. I have no problem with that, which they should do it. However, Dominic Mysterio losing the IC title was the wrong call. And here's why. Because if you are Dominic and Finn Balor and you guys are face-to-face and you kick me out of the group that I helped build, now I want to take something of yours, which is the IC title. Penta did not need the IC title for his story. They could have reunited him with his brother on SmackDown and won the WWE Tag Team title on SmackDown to carry that division while the Usos carry Monday Night Raw. And this particular story between Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor needs something to gain off of Dominic Mysterio. This is why you have the IC title be in this feud, because this feud has been boiling over for months and months and months. They finally hit the trigger on a bad show, by the way. They finally pulled the trigger on a crowd that was not great. The crowd was not great for this either. So they finally pulled the trigger on Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor and being out of the Judgment Day. But the IC title should go along with Finn Balor at WrestleMania with the Demon returning and winning the IC title belt. Now you have it on Penta, who they're probably going to have a multi-man match with and do nothing and have no story built up with Penta. This is why I said Penta should not win the title until SummerSlam. Have Finn Balor beat Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania. I've been saying this for weeks, but this company doesn't know how to book a damn thing, and they're so lazy that they took the title off. Oh, well, the feud doesn't need the title. Finn Balor needs something to fight for. He's fighting because he got kicked out of the Judgment Day. Yes, that's true. But also because I want to take something from Dominic Mysterio that means so much to him. And that is important to him. What's important to Dominic Mysterio besides Liv Morgan and being in the Judgment Day? The Intercontinental Championship. Not the AAA Mega Championship, because I don't care about the championship. No disrespect AAA. But what is the major important thing for Dominic Mysterio? And that was the Men's Intercontinental Championship, and they took it away from him. And that's what messes up this story. Finn Balor needs to take something from Dominic Mysterio. He can't take JD with him. He can't take Liv Morgan with him. And he can't take Raquel Rodriguez with him either. So what are you going to take? The Intercontinental title, and they messed it all up because they don't know how to book, and they want Penta to be in a multi-man match at WrestleMania. If I'm WWE, I'm taking the belt right back off of Penta and letting Dominic Mysterio get the title back in time for WrestleMania. Penta does not need the IC title. Because what story are you building with Penta and IC title? Nothing. He'll probably face Javon Evans. He'll probably face other competitors on Monday Night Raw for a chance to go on to WrestleMania. Or it might be a multi-man ladder match, something like that. Something stupid. Instead of building this championship around Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor. Again, the company totally missed the ball with this championship, which is the IC title. We then take a look at the Undisputed WWE Championship match from SmackDown. After that, we then head to the back where Adam Pearce tells Javon Evans in the back, and Adam Pearce says he has some good things in place for Evans. Kofi Kingston approaches Javon Evans and says he sees himself in Evans. Kofi then says he believes in Javon Evans, but Evans needs to have a team around him that encourages him to think about joining himself, Xavier Woods, and Grayson Waller. In the background, we can see Asuka berate Kairi Sane after the women's IC title match. Now, my quick thoughts about Javon Evans possibly joining forces with Kofi Kingston. That could be a good thing for him if they get rid of Grayson Waller. Because what are you doing with Grayson Waller? Nothing. What are you doing with the New Day? Nothing. So would Javon Evans be a benefactor of teaming with them? Yes. The problem is that they are heels and Javon Evans is a babyface, so it's never going to happen. Do I want to see them fight at WrestleMania? No, I do not. Do I want to see them join them? It depends if they actually have a story to go behind it and a New Day stop being heels and they get rid of Grayson Waller and they go back to being babyfaces and they can add Javon Evans in as a quote-unquote young OG and be mentored by the correct OG, which would be Kofi Kingston. But is WWE actually going to book something compelling and do something great by this? No, because they don't know how to. We then see Jackie running with Bayley, Lyra, Raquel. This segment was all over the place. This segment was absolutely dog ass. This segment was completely garbage. Jackie congratulates Bayley on their title win in the match. Bayley then thanks Lyra for helping her out in the match. Lyra then says Bayley should be the next champion. Bayley then says AJ's an inspiration for most women. She then says she never won an IC title and she looks forward to winning it. Bayley then suggests that she and Lyra can run it back after she wins. They were all over the place segment. The reason why the segment was so bad because it was all over the place. Looked like they didn't even know what they was. It was a terrible segment. I don't even care continuously getting into it. It was not a good segment at all. We had Femi versus Rusev. At one point when Rusev was kicking Femi, he said, "Grab me by the neck." I heard him basically yell that out loud. So after that, this match starts off. They're basically fighting each other, kicking each other, whatever the case may be. They return to the ring, and Rusev hits some kicks. I basically get halfway to the match. Oba then grabs Rusev, and he goes for the chokeslam, but Rusev escapes and hits a thrust kick. Oba then hits a corkscrew back elbow and a toss powerbomb. Oba then hits a sit-out powerbomb for the win. The winner of this match is the Ruler, Femi. We all knew that Femi was going to win this match with Rusev. Was this a great display for Femi on Raw? Technically, yes, but what are you doing with Femi? You're displaying him against Rusev, who you haven't been using since you returned to the company. Why aren't you using Rusev? He could literally be in the United States Championship picture on SmackDown or be in an IC title picture against Penta. Have him do something else. He's a veteran. You brought him back for nothing. What was the point? The same thing with Matt Cardona. I like Matt Cardona a lot. I told you guys when they brought him back to WWE, he was going to be your United States title picture. They're not going to give him the world title, which I don't think they're ever going to give it to him. He's going to be in the United States Championship picture. Then after that, he's probably going to be there for a little while. They're going to give him another United States Championship run. And then after that, that's it. And so far, I'm right. They've done nothing with him. It's the same thing with Rusev. They've done nothing with him because they don't know how to book a damn thing. It is then announced next week Brock Lesnar will be on Raw. Now, how is Brock Lesnar going to be on Raw without Paul Heyman? Paul Heyman's not going to be out there to cut a promo with him because they said Paul Heyman is basically written off television and he's done. They basically got him out of the Vision storyline. So he's out. So what is Brock Lesnar going to do? Just going to stay out there and just wait for somebody to come out there and just go in the back? What's the point of wasting Brock Lesnar's bookings and his money and his fee to appear on these shows if you have nothing planned for him and you're doing the open challenge? Which we all know you're not going to reveal it next week. We know you're not. Bayley faces AJ Lee for the women's IC title. Again, they're putting this on Raw. Fine, it is what it is. They don't care. This company doesn't care about Bayley anymore. They just simply don't. She looks great, by the way, but they don't care about Bayley anymore. You can tell. The original Grande Americano Classico faces Grande Americano next week, and Roman Reigns will be on the show. And speaking of Roman Reigns, I want to get this for a second. Roman Reigns, CM Punk literally tells you, "I'm going to bury you next to your father," and you don't show up on the next week on Raw. Is this company dumb? Are they dumb? I mean, the segment was fine. Spoiler, Jimmy and Jey Uso come out, but you're not on the show? After he disrespected your dead father, buried next to your dead father, "Oh, I'm not going to be on the show." This is just illogical. It's logical by having Jimmy and Jey come out, which is spoiler, they come out during CM Punk's promo. But the logical thing behind it is if you disrespect somebody's parent who passed away, I'm going to show up next week and try to whoop your ass. After that, CM Punk music hits, and he makes his way down to the ring. Punk then plays to the crowd, "Is it great to be alive on a Monday night in Seattle or what?" Punk then brings up the Seahawks. That's what shows you guys the other pop that came up. This crowd popped basically twice tonight for the Seahawks players in the crowd, and they popped for the Seahawks when Punk mentioned them in the promo after the crowd was completely just terrible. So after he brings the Seahawks, Punk then says he thought some of the fans would be mad at him for what he said about Roman Reigns. Punk then says some people were not happy with what he said last week. Punk then says some call it disrespect. Punk then says Roman has never respected him in his entire career. Punk then tells fans to hold their breath because he might show up, which is a dig at him. Punk then says he will force Roman to respect him in a position that he holds. Punk then says the titles in his business are made to find out who are the best. Punk then says titles in sports are to find out who is the best. Punk then says they defend their titles in championships. Punk then says the title was created because Roman shunned his championship opportunities and refused to defend his titles with an S. Remember, Roman Reigns was WWE champion and he was Universal champion at the same time. He held the Universal title for 1,316 days and he held the WWE championship for a little over 730-something days, and he didn't defend not either one of the titles. They actually combined them together. The Universal title has been retired since WrestleMania 40 after a whole entire year when John Cena won the Universal title at WrestleMania. They didn't really count it, and they didn't count Cody Rhodes' reign even though he basically won the title from Reigns, but they said it was retired. But anyway, the point still stands. Punk just says he defends the title because he's a fighting champion. Punk just says he levels up the competition. Punk just says you have to level up physically and verbally, or you will be left dumbfounded and stack jawed like he did to Roman last week. Punk just says he lowered himself to Roman's level. After that, the Usos' music hits and they interrupt Punk before they continue. They make their way down to the ring and they're not raising arms. They're not celebrating. Even Mike Cole says they're not doing anything, cheering, anything like that. Jay then paces in the ring and says they need Punk to apologize right now. I'm going to tell you guys what I said earlier in my review. I'm going to get to that, but I'm just going to read this first. I'm going to get to the whole Jay Uso being upset part. I'm going to get to that in a second. So they say that Punk needs to apologize right now. He's pacing back and forth ring. Punk needs to apologize right now. Jay then tells him to apologize right now again. Punk then says, ask why is Roman sending out his cousins to do his heavy lifting. Jay then says they came out here on their own and he wants Punk to apologize. Jimmy then says this got nothing to do with Roman Reigns, but has to do with respect. He then tells Punk he has a lot of respect for him. He then says he has so much respect for him because he says what is on his mind. He then says he goes through any obstacle and he respects Punk for that. He then says you can call yourself the voice of the voiceless. He then says you can speak trash about Roman all you want, but you disrespect their late uncle who has no voice. Jimmy then tells Punk to apologize. This is good so far. I'm not crushing this segment. I'm going to crush Jey Uso in a minute for this fake ass I'm being mad when early in the show he wasn't. Punk then says Jimmy is right. Punk then says Sika doesn't have a voice. Punk then says he is not spiritual. Punk then says they are friends. He then asks if they think Sika can hear him. He then says they are friends and he goes back a long way with his family. Punk then says he knew Sika, but not as well as Alpha. Punk then says he went to Allentown and he didn't work for free. He didn't work for free, but he was paid in knowledge. Under the wild Samoan tree, Punk then says he babysat Lance and Hawaii. Punk then says he got to sit in the truck with Samu and he dropped knowledge on him. Punk then says he respects everyone in his family and his family has shown respect except for that one son of a bitch. He then says if you think Sika heard that, then he can see. He then says he sees what he sees, and that is a lying, conniving, backstabbing, manipulative, narcissistic person his son Roman is. Jay then says this isn't about Roman Reigns. He says he just doesn't get it. He says say you are sorry. He says Punk, say you're sorry. He's mad and he's pacing back and forth again. Punk then shakes hands with Jimmy. Punk then says he is sorry. Jay then shakes his hand as well. They then thank Punk. Punk then says he is sorry that Roman treated you and the rest of your family like garbage for years and never apologized for the way he treated you. Punk then says he never apologized for what Roman said about Dusty. Punk then says why is Roman on the hook to apologize for saying that Dusty Rhodes is basically irrelevant and he disrespected Cody Rhodes' father and his mentor. Which that is true, by the way. Roman Reigns did disrespect Dusty Rhodes by saying to Cody Rhodes that you're going to be just like your dad and he's irrelevant at the WrestleMania 40 conference. With The Rock was there, Seth Rollins was there, and Cody Rhodes basically went back at Roman Reigns and said, Peter Maivia would be ashamed of you, and then The Rock slapped him and they got into that big ass brawl. But nobody made Roman Reigns apologize to Dusty Rhodes. So that part is true. CM Punk has every right to say that when Roman Reigns never apologized for that either. Punk then says, why isn't Roman on the hook for that? After that, Punk then goes on to say that he is sorry that Roman has made everyone think that he gives a damn. Punk then says if he cared about anything, he would be standing in the ring talking to Roman right now, instead of his young boys. In the way that CM Punk says young boys, he says it in the same way that Roman Reigns said it. Roman Reigns says when CM Punk was walking up the aisle after Survivor Series, holding up his title, treat him like one of his young boys. And the way he was so offended by Punk doing that, CM Punk said it the same exact way that Roman said it. Roman Reigns will be standing here right now instead of his young boys. And then after that, Jay then punched CM Punk down to the floor. The Usos leave the ring. All three men staring at one another as the show comes to a close. Now, before we get to the end, I just want to circle back to what I said before. Jey Uso being mad in this promo, I don't know why he was so upset. You want to know why? Because if you go back to the beginning of the show, after the in-ring segment with LA Knight and those guys, they come backstage. Jackie asks Jey Uso, what does he have to say? He says, I have nothing to say to CM Punk. So if Jay has nothing to say, and then Jimmy interviews and says, I have something to say to CM Punk, and they go out there at the end of the night, why is Jey Uso going in the ring acting crazy like that? You guys are going to say, well, Brandon, you're nitpicking. No, I'm not. Be consistent in your booking. If Jey Uso says, I have nothing to say to CM Punk, then why is he going out there acting like that? It should have been Jimmy Uso doing that. Well, people going to say, well, Jay's the hothead. No, he's not. Jimmy has been the original hothead because he used to do goofy and dumb stuff with Roman, but he used to cost people matches and do other things. He's more of a comedic act, I get it. But sometimes Jimmy Uso has that heel in him too. Did we not see the Bloodline storyline of 2024 of him being a heel, especially at WrestleMania 40 against his own brother? So this whole notion that Jey Uso had to be in the ring and act like that, that's not true. Jimmy said that they had something to say, which was basically implying that he had something to say, that we might have something to say. They go out to the ring and then Jey Uso's doing all the theatrics. I get it. Jimmy seems to be more calm and Jey gets all wild. But if Jey had nothing to say, why would you put that line in there thinking that he really had nothing to say and Jimmy's the one who had something to say, but you flipped it at the end of the show? Keep your booking consistent. I have no problem with the segment. I wish Roman Reigns was there, but he wasn't. Fine, alright. But now, when you put these guys out there, be consistent in your booking. Jimmy had the problem, not Jey. But then you had Jey go out there and act like that, act like he couldn't control himself, when Jimmy was the one who said that we have a problem, we may have something to say. You get it? It's just inconsistency in that booking that I looked at with a glaring, I'm like, man, what are we doing here? It's supposed to be Jimmy, not Jey. People are going to say you're nitpicking, but so what? It is what it is. I criticize booking, and this was booked. It went well, but me seeing Jey Uso so mad, I was confused. Like, I thought Jimmy was the one that had a problem. Go back to the first segment and then go to the last segment and see what I'm talking about. But other than that, it just doesn't feel like it's WrestleMania season. This show is absolutely terrible. We are 40 days to WrestleMania. We have 5 matches confirmed so far. And those 5 matches are CM Punk versus Roman Reigns for Heavyweight Championship. I think that's going decently so far, especially on the end of CM Punk. We also have Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton, which that story is getting ready to pick up, so we'll leave that to the side. We also have Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill. Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill, that promo on SmackDown was absolutely terrible that they did with each other. It was absolutely horrible. Again, Rhea Ripley needed it. People are going to say, well, you wanted Rhea Ripley to win. Yes, Rhea Ripley needed it to win the Elimination Chamber because Jade Cargill needs a great dance partner to get a great match out of her at WrestleMania. She's still very much green in the ring, and she needs Rhea Ripley to help her have a great match. Bianca Belair is not here. Rhea Ripley is the best one, and she's on a brand where the women's division is not good, and she can help make up for it. After that, we have Liv Morgan and Stephanie Valkyria. Stephanie Valkyria has been doing amazing jobs on her promos so far. And then after that, we have Brock Lesnar versus To Be Determined. And we don't know who that is going to be because this company's lazy. They know how to book anything and they don't have Brock Lesnar's opponent down yet. Ridiculous. So let me know in the comments down below how you guys felt about this show. I said it was boring. Again, I'm going to continuously keep saying it's boring. Let me know if you guys have a difference of opinion than me. You guys might have liked the show, being a minority and have liked the show. So let me know in the comments down below how you guys felt about this entire show and Monday Night Raw. Please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more content headed your way. Until next time, guys, I'll see you real soon.